Imagine a punishment so brutal, so public, that it struck fear into the hearts of entire empires. Crucifixion, a method of execution that became one of history's most infamous practices. But where did it come from? Why was it so widespread? And how did it shape the ancient world? Today we're diving into the chilling history of crucifixion. Buckle up, hit that like button, and let's uncover the past together. Before we trace the ancient roots of crucifixion, let's pause on its most famous instance, the execution of Jesus Christ around 30 CE. A Jewish preacher in Roman-occupied Judea, Jesus was sentenced to death by crucifixion under Pontius Pilate, accused of claiming to be a king. His death on the cross, described in the New Testament, was not just a Roman punishment, it became the cornerstone of Christianity. For billions, the cross of Jesus transformed from a symbol of shame into one of hope and salvation. This moment in history would reshape the legacy of crucifixion forever. Crucifixion didn't start with the Romans, though they certainly perfected it. Its origins trace back to the 6th century BCE, likely with the Persians. Ancient sources like the Greek historian Herodotus describe Persians impaling or suspending rebels and enemies on poles as a public warning. This wasn't just about death, it was about shame and control. The practice spread to other cultures, like the Assyrians and Phoenicians, who used similar methods to terrify their enemies. By the time Alexander the Great swept through the Mediterranean in the 4th century BCE, crucifixion was already a known punishment in the ancient world. But it was the Romans who would make it an art form of cruelty. Enter the Romans, who turned crucifixion into a terrifying spectacle. By the 3rd century BCE, crucifixion was Rome's go-to punishment for slaves, rebels, and non-citizens who dared defy the empire. Why was it so effective? It was slow, public, and excruciating. Victims could linger for days, exposed to the elements, mocked by crowds, and left to die in agony. The process was grim. Victims were often scourged, whipped with bone or metal-tipped lashes, before being forced to carry the crossbeam to their execution site. Nails, typically 5 to 7 inches long, were driven through the wrists and feet, though sometimes ropes were used instead. Death came from suffocation, dehydration, or shock, but the Romans weren't in a hurry. They wanted the punishment to last. Crucifixion was also a psychological weapon. Crosses lined roads and city gates, a constant reminder of Rome's power. One of the largest recorded crucifixions happened in 71 BCE, when 6,000 followers of Spartacus were crucified along the Appian Way. Imagine walking that road, seeing miles of suffering. That was the point. While Rome made crucifixion infamous, it wasn't unique to them. The practice appeared in other parts of the world too. In ancient Japan, a similar punishment called haritsuke was used during the feudal era. The Carthaginians, Rome's rivals, crucified their own generals for military failures. Even after Rome fell, crucifixion persisted in some regions, like the Byzantine Empire and parts of the Islamic world, though it became less common. Interestingly, crucifixion wasn't just a punishment, it was a cultural symbol. For some, it represented ultimate shame. For others, like early Christians, it became a symbol of sacrifice and redemption, forever tied to the execution of Jesus Christ around 30 CE. His crucifixion, described in the New Testament, is one of history's most famous, and it transformed the cross from a tool of terror into a global religious icon. So why did crucifixion fade away? By the 4th century CE, the Roman Empire was changing. Emperor Constantine, a convert to Christianity, reportedly abolished crucifixion around 337 CE, partly due to its association with Jesus' death. New execution methods like hanging or beheading took its place. The cross, once a symbol of horror, was now a sacred emblem. But crucifixion's legacy lingers. Archaeological evidence, like the 1968 discovery of a crucified man's heel bone in Jerusalem, confirms its brutality. Modern scholars debate its medical and social impacts, and its image still haunts art, literature, and culture. Crucifixion wasn't just a punishment, It was a message, one that echoed across centuries. From ancient Persia to the fall of Rome, crucifixion was more than a method of execution. It was a tool of power, fear, and eventually faith. Its history reminds us of humanity's capacity for cruelty and resilience. What did you think of this dark chapter of the past? Let us know in the comments, and if you want more history deep dives, hit that subscribe button and share this video. Until next time, keep exploring the past